Here we go. I think it's going to give you a signal saying that we are on live and ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that I am Simply.Tennille, and we are here on I'm Just Saying Live, and we have a very, very special guest with us. I know you know tons of people have been going around and finding platforms to speak on, but we have a judge here who wanted to connect with the people, and that's what we do here at I'm Just Saying Live. So I don't want to chop your name up because, you know, the apostrophe kind of threw me for a loop for 2 seconds. So go ahead and tell everybody who I have here with me.
Yeah, fair enough. So Rell Rogers, happy to be here. First time, hopefully not the last time, but Rell A. Rogers, candidate for County Court 14.
All right. So we are super excited to have you. We're glad about all the ceilings that you have broken. But now let's get into the nitty gritty. I see you have a couple of different missions, if you will, that you're trying to put out there to the people. So just in case we lose some people, let's tell them what we're about right up front.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Rell Rogers, I'm a candidate for Harris County Criminal Court 14. So not there yet, but I anticipate that I will be soon. And pretty much I'm running because I want to bring a community focus to that bench, because judges, particularly criminal judges, they make decisions every day that impact the community. And how can you do that unless you have community involvement and experience? And so I have that. If you look at my background, I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Oh, yes. I saw the Sharpstown on there.
Yeah.
If you guys are not from Houston and don't know the area, if you will, I'm sure you got tons of experience, saw lots of things, you know, in your rise. I've also seen that, you know, you've been through Louisiana, whether it was in school or, you know, X, Y, and Z, all of these different things. And then you branched out and, well, before that, you actually were up north a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your experience at Notre Dame, if you will.
Yeah. So like you said, I was born and raised in Louisiana, Shreveport, and people will tell you that that's not Louisiana, but I promise it's part of Louisiana. There's some there are Cowboy fans there. That's true, but I'm who that all day when it comes to football.
I'm from Dallas, by the way, so you know.
This was fun. No. But yeah, but I decided I wanted to get away. I went to Notre Dame, go Irish. I loved it. It was cold and the food was bland, but man, it was a good experience. Made a lot of good friends, and that's where I really kind of first got involved with service. Notre Dame, I'm not Catholic, but it's a Catholic university. And so service was just a very big part of the student body and the school itself and their entire mission. And so even at Notre Dame, I got involved with some after school activities, some local schools in Indianapolis for one summer. I worked at a daycare center for low income kids. And it was really around that time where I first discovered the passion I have for just working with different groups and just doing something that's bigger than myself. But it was a great time. I was a history major there, graduated in 2008. The thing that stood out the most to me, or that people find out the most, I was a cheerleader. I was
really okay. That's where the muscles come from. You know, that's gonna be my next point, because you know I gotta say something about fit for the bench, because this is I'm Just Saying Live. We like people who like to stay fit. We like people who love to do community service. I have a nonprofit myself that my co-host helps me with, and I'm just telling you, when I saw the fit for the bench, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be good. You know, I just knew from then. But a cheerleader, I would have never, I never would have suspected.
Man, you know, I neither did I. You know, I just I wanted to. My mom never let me play football. That's all. I was sports, but she never let me play because she was worried about me getting injured, right? And that's before even CTE, and she was already on the forefront of that, so she wasn't having that. And so I was like, man, but I want to be involved with the sports though. So that was the next best thing. I couldn't play an instrument in the band, and so that's the next best thing. Like, all right, you know, let me go hang with some nice.
I'm still going live on Friday night.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's talk about fit. Let's talk about you being fit for the bench. We say that you have the experience. You're catering toward the community when it comes to community service. You've done some different things, and you're not scared to step out there, because you know a lot of people would just be like, I might be good at it, but I'm not doing that because of what society would say. And I think that that's really important when it comes to being a judge. You got to make the ruling per what the law says. We know that crime is rising right now in Houston. Can you speak on that just a little bit? What do you think is kind of triggering the effects that we're having right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, you hit it right on the head when you said that, judges, you got to make decisions that they're not always popular. If you're making a decision that's just because it's popular, A, you're not doing your job. And then B, you're going to find the next day that decision popular today, not popular tomorrow. So you're in the wrong field if that's where you get into this. But, if you look around the country, you see rise in race. And, what are the causes for it? I mean, I think obviously COVID is a factor of it.
Okay.
There's this fatigue associated with COVID, jobs and such. But that's always been the case, right? When people don't have the different things that they need to stay out of trouble, let's just say, then those means that they still have a need
Right.
for
The
that they,
community centers that have kind of been closed down. Everybody's
yeah.
out looking for something to do. They're hanging at home with the homies, if you will. Gotcha.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean, my mom used to say, idle minds, the devil's workshop, and so if you don't have these things to keep people occupied, constructive, productive resources, opportunities, then I think it leads to this, leads to the rise in domestic violence. It leads to the rise in property crime kind of cases. And so I think what a judge can do is make sure that while they're on the bench, that they are keeping the community in mind, that they're keeping the community focused. And one thing I want to do is build partnerships with different community leaders and agents of change in the community to make sure that County Court 14 is always present in the community.
Okay, and I just have to put this out there, ladies and gentlemen, when he speaks of community, I'm not trying to speak for you, but that also includes our police officers, ladies and gentlemen. I have tons of police officers in my family. I know everybody wants to say, tons of things are happening and they're against everybody. They are trying to do their jobs just like you and I every single day out there. And that is also part of y'all's responsibility is, protecting our officers, if you will,
Yeah,
when things come down to those types of situations. I know that you also work closely with them.
yeah,
I did read somewhere that you assist with racial profiling, if you will. I
yeah,
know that a ton of people would be interested to hearing that about how you kind of do that, or do you
yeah.
make it more sensitive? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, I do work closely with officers. I mean, for the last 8 years, I've served our county as an assistant district attorney. Right now, I handle murders and capital murders for the DA's office. One of the ways in which a case can be a capital murder is if, in fact, an officer is killed during the course of commission of the scope of their job duties. But yeah, I teach racial profiling out for current officers, and I enjoy it just because I first started doing it shortly after George Floyd, and that was kind of my response to getting involved with it. And I remember when his first idea was considered to me, and I was like, I don't, if I'm honest, I was like, like this is somebody's chance to try to, let's get the black attorney, and make, kind of make things better. But then I thought about it, it's like, why not me? Who better to talk
Right.
about these, and who better to explain to officers, who are trying to make sure that they're doing their job correctly? Who better to explain issues that, a young African American man or African American or any other
Yeah,
minority?
because you can give them insight on things that you've seen, or lived through, if you will. I tell people all the time, just because, like, I'm an Aggie, I went to A&M. You have no idea some of the things that has happened to me over the course of the road, but I try not to take it into every situation. And hopefully that's what you're relaying to them, that just because the last person did you bad, or that last 9-year-old was packing a pistol,
Yeah,
don't let
yeah,
that be the case for everybody that you run across. But we know
yeah.
that it does happen.
Exactly, because at the same time, right? I've never been an officer, and so I can't relate to them in regards to what they're facing and such, and that concern about am I going home tonight? But at the same time, you have to go about doing your job in a way that's professional and that's not going to be discriminatory in any kind of way. And so the focus, the way the class works, really, is that they're given like scenarios and such, and it seems and it's based like this. Okay, if you're doing this and X, Y, and Z, and if you don't have this, it maybe, just maybe, officer, this could be a possibly racially motivated traffic stop or something.
Mhm.
Like if you're holding a car or if you're detaining the car and you don't have anything, but you're still just trying to find something, then maybe look deeper. Maybe this is not so much about the evidence now. Maybe this is just about some type of bias that you formed. Let's explore that.
Okay. Let's also talk about, while we're in this whole realm of things, your street law program that you started. I just
Yeah.
want people to really kind of know the behind the scenes before you were even in the seat that you are in, if you will. You have already like laid the groundwork doing several different things before you're even there. So let's so we can build, you know, the character so people can, you know, fall in love and make sure they make out to the polls and do what they need to do. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
You're right, because that is coming up. I will plug that February 14th, early voting starts. But no, so I've always said, that we should be, or candidates should be who they are, and then they should decide to run for office and not the other way around. Sometimes you see people decide they want to run, they want this position, that position, and then they try to build a resume that will support them.
It's too late because now I can't go check back several years and dig all your stuff
up. You are who you are at that time. And so, when I was at law school at LSU, a rival to your Aggies, when I was at LSU, some colleagues of mine and I, we were all Teach for America people. So we had previously taught.
Okay.
I taught here.
Shout out to Burdette, as a friend of mine that was a Teacher for America as well. I used to be like, girl, you got to be crazy. And she was like, no, it's going to be great.
The worthwhile experience, and I talk about it all the time to anybody that wants to talk about it. But there's a few of us at LSU who had all done that, and we still enjoy teaching. And now we were embarking on this new endeavor. We're taking criminal law classes and such, and it's like it reminded all of us so much of our students, right? Students that we all taught with, because when you do Teach for America, you're not going to the affluent places, right? You're going to some of these low high crime areas. And so we were
and for people who don't know, maybe you could explain that to them, because I think a lot of people, when it comes to teaching now, because this is another really hard subject, lots of people are just saying, forget it, but y'all have to remember at all times that this is all our kids have to rely on right now. There's no other system in place. If there's tons of parents who are working all the time just to get the bills paid. They don't really have the time and the ability to do all the nurturing and things that the stay-at-home parents get to do, because they got to be working to pay the bills so the baby can eat.
Yes.
It's hard. It's a toss-up. But let's keep talking. Tell them what Teachers for America actually does, if you will.
Yeah. So Teach for America strives to place typically speaking, recent college graduates into different schools around the country, typical what we call like Title I schools, your low income schools, and they tend to place them in those schools. And you have an assignment, I guess, for say, or for 2 year. That's what they ask of you, and you're actually a teacher of the district. So I was a Teach for America teacher, but I was an employee of HISD. I was a regular. I went through an alternative certification program like anybody else that would want to teach who didn't.
That's cool that they wind up needing you right here at home,
Yeah, it was great. And they give you options. You can list places that you want to go, places that you don't want to go, or you can just tell them to place you anywhere. And so, like you said, there's a need. And, God.
For all of you people out there who feel like you can't figure it out just yet, and you've got a degree, go teach. Because there's plenty of kids that need you, not just right here. Remember, if you do decide to go travel somewhere else, that's a paid, trip. There's a lot of people who haven't made it out of Houston, Texas in their entire life.
Exactly. And I would say, I would take it a step further, even for those, if you don't have a degree. Another thing I do is I'm involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and there are a lot of people out there who need a mentor or mentee, and no degree is needed for that. They just need someone who's going to give quality time to just to be an example. And so whether you have a college degree, you have a trade, you just someone that just want a good person to hang out with kids, because kids need mentors of all backgrounds, all varieties, all education levels. And so that's another plug I would make. Just get involved, do something.
Right. And there's plenty of organizations out there that have already established everything. All you have to do is go and give your time a lot of times. Because I've been, I told you I have a nonprofit, and I've really been interested in working with the Boys and Girls Club. And so I haven't really, made that connection like I feel to where we're doing some stuff on a regular basis. But maybe you're my guy. I'm not going to stop trying. I just got to keep it pushing.
Yeah, because there's this perception that I need to be perfect, or I need this, or we set these limitations ourselves.
Yes, it's our own brain.
And like my little brother, if we hang out, get pizza, and throw a football around, he's having a great day. And so something that was insignificant for me in terms of a commitment, it means the world to him. And so I think many people can do that. And so I would just say, don't limit yourself, just get up and do something. Get out, do something. Like I said, there's so many different organizations which you can make that happen.
Okay, get up and get out and do something. So you were saying that February the 14th is the next election, correct?
Correct. It's
okay.
That's my early.
Tell us why that's for the early voters. Okay. And we know we all want to be the early voters and get it out the
Yeah.
way. That way people aren't hindsight waiting on points and this, that, and the other. So we want you to get out there early. Why is this election so important? We've talked about tons of the things that are going on in the Houston area right now. We've talked about your background a little bit. Why is it so important for people to get out there?
Yeah, so people always make the mistake of thinking like, oh, it's a presidential election. That's the one, I voted no because that's important. And, the truth of the matter, it couldn't be further in terms of what
Right.
you, when you talk about, let's talk about Houston, you talk about Hurricane Harvey flood money, you talk about the grid and things like that. Those things are going to be impacted by your local elections. And, don't get me
Because
wrong.
those are the people who make the decisions. We
Yeah.
say here on I'm Just Saying we're the best in edutainment, period. This is your
Okay.
education. I need to ring my bell right now. This is your education, ladies and gentlemen. It's the people who are right here close to you that you can actually reach and touch that are
Right.
making the decisions,
Right.
before it even goes up the chain.
Yes,
Okay,
because
keep going. I'm loving it.
yeah, because those are the ones that you can hold accountable because
Mhm.
you can see them in the community at the church event, at the neighborhood function and such, and so you can hold those people accountable. And so those are the elections that matter. All elections matter, don't get me wrong. Like I said, the presidential, those are important too, but the ones that affect you on a day-to-day, your school board. We just had school board elections recently, and turnout was not as great as we would like. There was a special election for city council a few weeks ago, and again, turnout for that wasn't as great. But then when we have or upset about road conditions or anything like that, well, that's where it starts. And so this election is going to be a number of judicial elections, and it's going to be a long ballot. It's going to be I'm telling y'all now, it's a long ballot, but you cannot let yourself get fatigued. Look through it, do your research. There are a lot of different organizations that have great resources, League of Women Voters. They just give nonpartisan information, so that way just to inform you about what's happening, inform you about the issue, so that way you can make an educated decision, which at the end of the day is.
And then with Google, if you will, it is too easy to get out there and find just a little bit of detail in regards to something that matters to you. I tell people this all the time: when you're interested and you maybe haven't been voting like you're supposed to, that is the easiest way. Go and find out somebody who has your same interest at heart. If it is something like your racial profiling or your, all these different types of things, find somebody whose name pulls up when you put that down. It's too easy, try to look at all of the stuff and line it up and make sure it goes with what makes your life better.
Yeah.
Period.
And nothing else, like you're saying, you're exactly right. And nothing else, there's a lot of groups that will have similar interests as you. There are some partisan groups, or there's some just social interest group, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's African-American issues related, but find some group that resonates with you, because I bet you that they're socially active and involved with what's going on, and they can keep you abreast. I mean, the number of different Zoom meetings I've had with different local clubs and organizations, all different, sometimes neighborhood-based, sometimes interest-based. There's something out there for everyone, and they do a great job of keeping people informed.
Okay, so I have seen a couple of your photos, which we will pop up later during the show for everybody to see. I see we've got some pictures here with politicians. I also see hands on the ground when you're out there doing the work. How do you feel about candidates and out there actually, getting their hands dirty and, doing the work out there in the community? We've talked about this a couple of times, but I just want to make sure people know that you're one of those people that is not afraid to get out there and get your hands dirty and be part of the community.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the way I was raised, first of all. My Mama Rogers wouldn't have had it any other way. And so I was one of those type that was at church all day on Sunday, Sunday school at 9:30, regular service at 11 o'clock, pastor's anniversary at 2 o'clock, back at it in the evening. And those different things, that's how I first got involved in the community. But when you go to these certain jobs, like I said, running for judge, and you want to make a decision about someone that's going to affect them for the rest of their life, you have to have a solid foundation of where this decision making is coming from. And education is important in law school and law. Yes, it needs to be rooted in law, but there's also humanity involved with it. And so you have to actually be there, like I said, hands, feet on the ground, knowing the actual people, because these issues affect, we talk about bail reform, that's affecting, like my little brother, that affects his community, that affects your community, that affects all of us. And so you don't want to be someone who's just looking at it from a distance, and then just making decisions, not really knowing, I feel this way today, I feel that way today. It needs to be rooted in not just the law, but also just in terms of a certain humanity.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, he has done the work. He's been to school. He's got the accreditation, if you will. Now it is time for you to stand up for somebody who is standing up for the community. I can't wait to see all of you guys out there. I know that you're going to have a successful career. Just from talking to you right now, it is making me feel like you got all the pieces to the puzzle. So we're gonna claim that right now. We're gonna claim it right now. So, is there anything else that you want to tell people about actually getting out there? We do know, COVID is still live and real, about getting out there to the polls, and why it's important to get out there early, because there's less people when it's early, ladies and gentlemen. Hint, hint. So tell us some real details on getting out there and where they need to go and things of this nature, or where they need to look it up.
Yeah, so you're right. COVID is very real. So always be safe, take precautions, mind social distance. But early voting starts February 14th,
Okay.
runs all the way to the 25th. There are over 70, I think maybe even over 80 different polling locations for early voting. So for early voting, you can vote at any of those. If you wait till election day, it may be rainy, you may not feel like going out, and you're also limited on election day in terms of actually going to one particular polling place based on your address. And so get out there, beat the lines. Typically speaking, the hours are 7 to 7, generally speaking. And so the way you do it too is you make a plan, my people. You got to make a plan. And when you make that
your whole life. How about you do that? Yeah. Ladies, I want you guys to make sure that you plan everything. It just goes smoother, and sometimes it's not going to always go as scheduled to plan. And that's why we're telling you to go ahead and get out there early, because if something does come up and you're not able to get there, you don't want that to happen the second go round when there's no other option. Right now, you have the option. You have a couple of days, beforehand. Just plan to get on out there. Take your friends and family with you. Remember to look out for those that are in your neighborhood who may not have the resources to be able to get there, just like you can. Take them with you. It's okay. Remember they used to do that a long time ago. They would pack the vans, the church van full of people.
Yeah, so the polls, yeah, and those are one of the things that's pretty much on the ballot, because those are the kind of things that in Austin that they want to take away. And so exactly, take a friend with you and inform them. A lot of people may not even know about the election. So if tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your family member, hey, did you know there's an election February 14th, early voting, March 1st, actual election day? Let them know.
Okay. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, I think you have gotten the info. I think we've gotten some good details on this candidate for judge. We cannot wait to see what the outcome is. Thank you so much for participating on I'm Just Saying Live today.
Thank you. When are we doing this again?
Oh man, we'll have to come up with a date. I would make sure your people stay in touch with my people. We're gonna do something real good for the community, because we love doing that here on I'm Just Saying. So thank you so much, and we will see you again soon.
I love it. Thank you. Y'all be safe.
Okay, thank you so much.